Hi folks, welcome to Boston. We're going to be diving into the city's charm, from the quacky fun of a duck tour to the historic streets of North End to peaceful green open spaces and then intriguing old cemeteries. Stick around as we explore the heart and history of Beantown. This morning we're going on a pre-booked tour of the city to suss it all out, but the only time we could get a space was 8:30. So now you find us making our way through the streets trying to find a coffee stop for breakfast before we get on the tour. It's really atmospheric how the steam escapes from the grates, backlit by the early morning sun. So we're down at the marina, and today we're going on a rather special tour, which is a duck tour in an amphibious World War II vehicle, and that will give us a tour around the city, introducing us to some of the sites and then allowing us at a later date to choose exactly where we want to go.
All the ferry boats, that's what all the hooting is. They're all lining up there. It's very new, sort of a bit New England looking out that way.
The marina's a short walk from our hotel, near Boston's downtown waterfront. Historically, this area is part of the Customs House district. Here you can get a ferry to Charlestown or visit the New England Aquarium. The duck tour operates from a small stand in front of the aquarium. On the road opposite, there's a lovely coffee shop that serves some really delicious breakfast croissants, just what we needed to fill our breakfast-sized gap. At exactly 8:30, a turquoise amphibious vehicle pulled up in front of the stand. Now, by this time, we'd exchanged our online vouchers for a ticket, looked at the souvenirs, and grabbed a map of Boston, illustrating the route we would take. Now, it wouldn't be a bus if you didn't get more than one arriving at a time. And shortly afterwards, a bright orange, a Back Bay Bertha bus, now that is a mouthful, joined the queue. After a short wait, it was all aboard, and we climbed up the rather rickety steps to get on our tour bus, Annie Aquarium. Now, in their original role, comfort was not something that was really considered or high on the agenda. The seats, you will find, are quite hard and not particularly wide.
We're going to have some fun today, my friends. We're going to drive in circles. We're going to point at buildings. This is Mike. Mike will be doing the driving in circles. I will be doing the pointing at buildings. It's going to be fantastic. But before we do that, let's learn a little bit about myself. Why am I dressed like a knucklehead? You may be wondering, well, friends, my name is Almost Educated Aaron, and I attended Harvard University. Yes, I did, for 3 days. I kept parking my car in Harvard. Don't walk, and people be like, don't tell me what to do. I'm having too much fun. I'm going to walk right out in the middle of oncoming traffic. This is 100% true. Google Mike O'Brien, O-B-R-I-E-N, my real name, Mike O'Brien, Boston Globe. An article will come about me in the Boston Globe, 2 pages with pictures. You may be saying about what? It'll also tell you need to pay $1 to read the article. You're not going to pay the $1, but you're going to see the headline, you're going to see the picture. You may be saying about what? You know those man on the street interviews the local news does, like the Subway breaks down, the Celtics win the championship, the Red Sox lose in the playoffs, what does the man on the street have to say about the situation? I've been the man on the street on the Boston local news so many times in Boston that the Boston Globe did an article about it. That's how many times I've been on the local news. And the person with the most stickers at the end of the tour wins. The respect and admiration of everyone on this stuff. That if you just leave your hazards on your car, you can just leave your car wherever you want. Did you know that? Isn't that amazing? All the English offices are in that building. It is now a great museum that you go visit and check out. And it is set up just like it was during the colonial days, except they added an essential part. They added a gift shop. That is where the Freedom Trail starts. The Freedom Trail is a 2.5 mile long red line with 18 stops along the way. You will learn all about the Revolutionary War. You can get a guide.
Here we have two of Boston's green open spaces, Boston Common on the left hand side and Boston Park on the right. We booked the tickets for this tour online in the UK a couple of weeks before we came out at around £45 per person. It takes somewhere around 80 minutes and there are 3 different pickup locations. The aquarium was the nearest to our hotel. You may not get to see all the locations on the map. It depends a lot on the route and the traffic. For us, we missed one loop, so 3 or 4 locations. This is not a hop-on, hop-off bus, instead you stay on for the duration.
Millions and millions of dollars. The most famous house on Beacon Hill, though, is not a house, because no one lives there. It is an office complex. It's up here on our left. It is the Statehouse. If you want to get a tour of the Statehouse, you can do that Monday through Friday, as the song says, 9 to 5, free of charge. Beautiful tour. Up on our right across the street from the Statehouse, you can see this wonderful monument. It's the 54th Regiment monument. 54th Regiment is the first all-black volunteer regiment of the Union Army. Is Robert Gould Shaw. He was the leader of that infantry. Now back to the Statehouse, you see the front door. That front door is only open up for 3 special occasions, when the President of the United States or a foreign dignitary visit. In the middle is a monument on the people lost their lives in the Revolutionary War from Massachusetts. At the other end of the courtyard, there's a granite police bench on our phone.
Boston traffic is really bad, but about now it got a whole lot worse. The police were out in force sorting out an accident, and it brought the road to a halt for a while. The incident involved 3 cars, one of which was at 90 degrees to the road, with its side staved in 2 places on one side. No idea how that happened. We had soon got round the incident and were back on track on our tour.
That is a jail right there. It is people awaiting trial. They're there for everything and anything and everything in between. They're innocent until proven guilty. And away we go, take away Mike. And away we go. Here we are in the lower basin of the Charles River. The cars like fold up or detach as a transformer. They're not going anywhere. They're staying right where they are. They come onto the water. He just pushes down to the lever. The propeller stops and we just drive on up. You can get the propeller off. We'll just keep driving. The thing will just keep spinning. It's a boat with wheels. That's the easiest way to describe it. How about this day? Is this not a day Mr. Rogers wrote songs about? This is that beautiful day in the neighborhood. This is not the land of make-believe, my friends. This is real life right here. It's pretty awesome. Now, what Mike did there, as he's rolling down the ramp, pulled up on a lever to his left, activating the propeller, and once we're in the water, this is like driving a truck in the water, using the gas and the steering wheel, and no brakes, obviously, the tires aren't touching anything. Our own organization here at Duck Tours also helps clean the server up. It's called Quack Quack Give Back. That is when you bought a ticket or a duck whistle. That's if you wanted to run up to the nearest dollar.
We really enjoyed this Boston duck tour, especially once we splashed into the Charles River. Being out on the water gave us a completely different perspective of the city, calmer, laid back and really beautiful. The skyline looked amazing from this angle, and the gentle movement of the amphibious bus made the whole experience feel relaxed and fun. It was the perfect mix of sightseeing, storytelling and just enjoying Boston from a spot one doesn't normally get to see.
Now, people always ask me, what is the best restaurant in all of Boston? They want to go to a place that only Bostonians truly love and appreciate. Well, friends, you are in luck. That restaurant is not in the North End. It's everywhere else. It's called Dunkin' Donuts. Yes. Unfortunately, in life, all good things must come to an end. This is the end of our tour. Make sure you grab everything you came here today. Cameras, phones, hats, bags, shoes, socks, pants, everything off to be comfortable. I'm not one to judge. Please remain seated, Mike and myself, to get off this duck first. I'll wait for everyone to get down to safe and timely manner. If you got a sticker, didn't get a sticker, you want some stickers, I got stickers for you.
Oh, what are we doing now?
So we've just finished our duck tour. Really enjoyable.
Got a bit stop and start as you went along in the roads because of the amount of traffic that's on the road. Really interesting when you got to go around the river and look at everything from a completely different perspective. Very enjoyable, nice tour, nice way to get to see the city and understand a little bit more about it.
On our return to the aquarium, we had spied a set of ornamental fountains and popped back to have a look. 60 water jets erupt in these super satisfying patterns, sometimes all at once, sometimes chasing each other in circles. We love this place because it's alive. Kids run through the water, tourists take photos, commuters cut through on their way home. It was then just a short walk back to the coffee shop where we picked up breakfast at the start of the day. We felt that we needed to take some time out to work out our next steps and plan our route before we continued our exploration of Boston. So the plan is that we will start off exploring the North End part of the Freedom Trail. The duck tour had not taken in that part of the city. We would then stop for lunch before returning to some of the landmarks we'd passed during the tour that we hadn't felt we had the full opportunity to appreciate as we zipped by.
Now this is a lovely street, really colourful, decked out in autumnal colours.
So the North End is the city's Little Italy, one of the most atmospheric neighbourhoods around. The second we stepped in, the streets got tighter, the buildings felt older, more neighbourly, and the smell of garlic, fresh bread and coffee hit us. We make our way to Hanover Street, which is basically the North End's main artery, and it's buzzing. Restaurants, tiny cafes, locals chatting, and tourists taking in the sights. What we love most is how the neighbourhood blends history and everyday life. 1 second you're grabbing a slice, the next you're standing outside Paul Revere's house, just casually part of the same block, like it's no great deal. This area is cosy, loud, delicious, full of personality, basically everything you want. So this bronze relief shows North End, the area we're in and the areas that we're planning to explore. We are now at St Leonard's Peace Garden, a small, tranquil courtyard which is located on Hanover Street. It reflects the Italian-American heritage of the neighbourhood through its statues, design elements and devotional traditions. It sits in front of the St Leonard of Portmore's Church, one of the oldest Roman Catholic churches in the city, which was founded in the 19th century by Italian immigrants. Further up the street is St Stephen's Church with its federal-style architecture, which reflected the desire for a refined, classical American architecture following independence. It's one of the city's oldest Roman Catholic churches, which in its early years would have served the Irish immigrant community.
So we're now at the Paul Revere Mall, which is a lovely sheltered square from what I can see, with a fountain and statue.
This is the Paul Revere Mall, with a bronze statue of Mr Revere on horseback at the Hanover Street entrance.
So this is a memorial to the American lives that were lost in the pursuit against terrorism. Each of these dog tags represents an individual killed in the battles.
This pedestrian corridor links Hanover Street to the old North Church on Salem Street. Along the brick walls lining the mall are 13 bronze plaques that honour notable Boston residents from various eras.
I'm not sure what story is behind Prince, the Black Cat.
At the old North Church end, there's a circular granite fountain set in a square, edged by curbs and plantings. The mall is lined with trees, which provide a lovely shady retreat in this city. This is a popular spot on the Freedom Trail, often visited by tourists. It frames views of the old North Church, making it a visually and historically significant place.
So you go through the Paul of Revere Mall and you get to the Old North Church, which was established in 1723.
To one side of the mall we spotted this garden, which was created in the 1970s to commemorate the original chapel of St Francis of Assisi, which served Italian immigrants and was later converted into the Old North Church gift shop. We absolutely love the autumnal and Halloween decorations. Next up, we plan to make our way to the Copp's Hill burial ground. However, we missed the turning and ended up in front of the cemetery overlooking Copp's Hill Terrace and the bay beyond. With no access to the cemetery from this side, we walked around the block to find the entrance. Here, granite pillars and steps punctuate the iron fencing, framed by 2 iron gates and an arch. These give a sense of durability and history, adding to the overall sense of solemnness and calm.
So we're now at the Copp's Hill Cemetery, which is part of the Freedom Trail. There are over 10,000 graves here. It's the second largest graveyard in Boston and was the overflow for the central graveyard, which was getting rather full. And they came here. Apparently it's named after a shoesmith, but I don't quite understand the connection between the shoesmith and the cemetery. But it's quite an awe-inspiring place. And if you look at the gravestones, there's some very familiar art on the top of each of the gravestones. Most of them seem to have, probably about 80% of them, seem to have a skull with wings, and that symbolises mortality and remembrance, if I remember correctly. But it is quite an awe-inspiring thing to come here and observe. And here is one of the other signs that you quite often see on the graveyard, though it is a minority, which is the cherub and the wings. And apparently this was actually used to signify a slightly more conservative version of the skull and wings. And here is the other type of memorial that you'll find here, which is the willow. And from the graveyard you actually get a lovely view over the sea in front of us. And the spire of North Church stands behind the cemetery.
We spent just under an hour here, walking around the gravestones and taking it all in. By now it was past 1 o'clock, so we decided to return to the area around the hotel for a spot of lunch, ending our North End exploration. We took a slightly different route back, a less tourist route, one with a mix of homes and commercial buildings. As we walked, we took in the lovely New England architecture and also the trappings of everyday life.
This set of meals is actually inside a playground. Really nice.
Near our hotel is this linear urban park which runs for 1.5 miles to downtown Boston on land freed up when the elevated freeway went underground, thus bringing green space to this area. It's named after the matriarch of the Kennedy political family who was born in North End.
So we're now coming back from North End and going towards a bar called Ned Divine.
It's the area surrounding our hotel, which as you can see is well served by numerous pubs and eateries, over and above those that can be found in or around Quincy Market. For lunch though, we had decided to go to the restaurant next door to where we ate last night. The meal served there had looked fantastic and it had been packed. Doesn't often happen, but both Joanne and I ended up having exactly the same main meal, and it was good.
This is a tuna tataki, and it looks really nice. Raw tuna, absolutely gorgeous. Really, really nice.
After lunch we sat around exploring the parts of Boston that we'd actually covered on the duck tour, but we wanted to see in a bit more detail.
So behind me we have the old City Hall, which now appears to be the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Lovely looking building though, and some really nice statues in the gardens.
This building served as Boston City Hall, housing the City Council for just over a century, until the new City Hall opened in 1969. Afterwards it was renovated and repurposed for office space and restaurants, with the conversion being widely recognised as one of the earliest and most successful examples of adaptive reuse in the United States. This bronze donkey is tied to the symbol of the Democratic Party with bronze footprints labelled "Stand in Opposition." Yet another cemetery. Now this one is the final resting place for Boston's political, military and social leaders during colonial times. Many interned here played active roles in the American Revolution, making it an important stop on the Freedom Trail. It showcases colonial era gravestones and offers insight into Boston's early urban development.
So we're at another burial ground, which is the Granary burial ground, and there's about 2,400 different memorial stones, but it's believed that there's over 8,000 different people buried here, and they are ranging from the rich and the famous as well as the general public. This is probably one of the more famous graves of Samuel Adams, who signed the Declaration of Independence.
Although Benjamin Franklin is buried in Philadelphia, his parents are both interned here in Boston, where he spent his early years before relocating to Philadelphia. He is featured a lot as we follow the Freedom Trail. Here is the final resting place of Paul Revere, a hero of the American Revolution, famous for his midnight ride, warning colonists of British troops. The gravestone reflects early 19th century funeral styles, and there's also a small bronze plaque nearby, marking his grave for easier identification.
Now this building is rather impressive, the David J. Sargent Hall, which is the Suffolk University of Law School. This is the Park Street Congregational Church. So we're now on the Boston Common. Really nice looking park. Not a lot else here, some fountains, but really nice seating and general relaxation area. And yes, behind me you can hear the Boston Park Congregational Church.
Boston Common, around 50 acres of green open space, and the oldest public park in the United States, established in 1634, originally as common pasture for grazing livestock. These days it's a hub for tourism, recreation, civic gathering and the start of the Freedom Trail. Who would have thought that once public hangings were conducted here in the 17th and 18th century? Now it's just home to the squirrels.
So this is a memorial to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott, who met in Boston in 1952, and it's called The Embrace, and it's a memorial to their love and leadership, and it's inspired by a photograph of them embracing. Lovely piece of art. It's in bronze. A memorial to the men of Boston who died for their country. So this is the famous frog pond, which in the summer would be a pond and in the winter would be iced over and people would be ice skating, but today it's just a sheet of concrete.
This memorial honours the bravery of the 1st African American Regiment and its colonel, Robert Gould Shaw, officially mustered in the North. It symbolises the fight for freedom, equality and the abolition of slavery, and is recognised as one of the most important Civil War monuments in the US. Opposite is the Massachusetts Statehouse, which looks absolutely incredible from this perspective.
So behind me I've got the Massachusetts Statehouse, and we passed this when we did our duck tour earlier on, and to be honest it didn't do it justice. Arriving here and looking at it, actually when you're not on the bus, it's totally different, and it's a really lovely house.
Right, having taken in the memorial, we'd missed it when we were on the duck tour, as it was on the other side of the duck tour bus, so we really wanted to come back and see it. But we made our way back to the other side in order to take in the Boston Public Gardens, which is next on our list.
Okay, so we're leaving the Boston Common and going across the road to the other park. So we're now in the public gardens that was founded in 1837, and this is very similar to the Boston Common that we were in before, except that there's an almighty big lake in the middle of it.
This guy is Thomas Cass, the Irish commander of the 9th Regiment Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry, a largely Irish-American unit. Here is the lake I spoke of earlier, and in the middle you can see the duck house.
So one of the most popular tourist activities is to take a swan boat ride on this lake. Unfortunately they're not running today as it's government closed down.
We've not done all of the public garden, but we're going to exit, have a look around the area there and make our way to the top of the park where we'll explore further.
This is Arlington Street Church.
So this is William Ellery Channing, who was a prominent Unitarian minister and theologian who advocated for the abolition of slavery.
And we have a number of high-end watch manufacturers here, as well as Chanel. And this is the Covenant Church in front of us. So this is Thomas Lee, orator, writer, soldier, jurist and financier.
We just had to see it while we were in Boston. The exterior of the bar from the opening credits of Cheers, right on Beacon Street and across from the public garden. It's such a fun little tourist spot now. Cheers was one of those shows that we kept stumbling across whenever we looked for something to watch ages ago. Great statue Edgar Allan Poe returning to Boston. The route back to the hotel took us past some of the theatres, just as night was starting to fall, and we absolutely love the colourful displays. It's a long time since we've been to the theatres in the UK.
And this is Kevin Hagan White, who apparently was the mayor of Boston.
For dinner we went to this lovely Irish bar and restaurant. There were no spaces inside and a wait, so we opted for the more immediate option, eating outside in a roped off area on the pavement.